Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Rise and Align, where we talk about all things high vibrational. We are your hosts, Demi and
Halie. Today we are outside. We wanted to take you on a little adventure with us, and we don't really have an agenda for today's episode, just to hang out with you and see what it's like to spend some time in the woods. This is a really good episode if you're feeling ungrounded or if you're not able to get outside. I think this will be a good way to pretend that you are.
Yes. I feel like we can kind of, in a ways, channel the energy to you. And I know for both of us, being outside and getting grounded is so important. And as soon as we got outside, I felt quite a lot better. So I'm excited to just hang out with you. We wanted to kind of share our authentic selves with you and just go with the flow.
Yes. So thank you so much for joining us today. Just to get started here, being outside, it is finally green here in northern Minnesota, and oh my gosh, I couldn't be more happy. Like you said, just taking 2 seconds, like we were just started walking in the woods and we were immediately like, oh my gosh, it's so pretty, it's beautiful, I feel good, I feel better, and it's just, nature's so healing, and I love it so much. I'm so happy that we're doing this. But like, there's flowers blooming.
It's kind of a perfect temperature too. It's not too hot, it's not too cold. In the sun, I did not need a jacket at all. Now it's, we're shaded and it's a little bit windier, but it's still just such a perfect temperature.
Yes.
It smells nice. The sky is blue.
The sun is shining, but it's not too hot.
We're surrounded in abundance.
We are, and that's what's so amazing about it. Summer. I feel like, it's not technically summer yet, but it's starting to feel that way. And seeing all the green around us and the plants blooming and starting to blossom, you can really feel that within yourself as well. Like, really connect to this abundance. And being out here is just one of the best ways to get back into alignment. Is just like being one with nature and connecting to her abundance. It feels so good.
Most definitely. I think it really represents an abundance of energy. Like, it takes energy to create life.
Mm-hmm.
Or, it takes the transformation of energy to create life.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And we've talked about colors before and color magic. Green is the color of the heart chakra and abundance. And so even just looking at all of this green is a form of magic. It is a way to connect to that energy and that frequency. So many ways to interpret the abundance around us and to take it in. So good.
So good. So we had a conversation on the way up here, and I think it really reflects the energy of right now, which we just had a full moon in Sagittarius, and I feel like that is very much so all about releasing what no longer serves you. And I've also been getting this message about mourning. Like, it is okay to have a mourning period when you're releasing something, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's something that has served you and you love it, and so you're afraid to let it go. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you identify with it, and I think that it's okay to mourn that, but to still take that step forward and do what is best for your energetic alignment.
Mm-hmm. I actually heard someone talking about this concept the other day, and it was actually, the deeper you mourn is actually a symbol of like the love that you were able to experience. And this also kind of goes with our last episode of like duality of, the deeper you can love is the deeper you mourn. It's a reminder of the love or the thing that you're mourning, but also like the blessing that you had something so wonderful to mourn.
Yes. The emotional capacity.
Mm-hmm.
I've been getting that message a lot lately too. I was watching this new show. It's a spinoff of Bridgerton. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's a great one. But there's an episode where there's two elderly women, and one is mourning her dead husband who she loved so much. And she's just, heartbroken because she lost him. And this other woman comes up and she says, you know what, you're blessed. because she never got to have that beautiful love with someone. And she said, you're blessed. And I understood completely, what she meant by that, that it is better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all.
Yes.
I believe it deepens your emotional capacity. And as you do that, and I've experienced this myself, the heartbreak allows you to feel love deeper. It does.
And it is a pathway to expansion. I believe that we are here to grow and expand, and you have to go through different periods of contrast, and I feel like mourning is a version of contrast. But I think it's just part of the reason that we're here to connect to the entire spectrum of life, the entire spectrum of emotions and feelings. Like, why not? We're here to
I think that's what we're here for, to experience that, because emotions are energy in motion. They're different frequencies, and I don't think that we have the same capacity to feel in non-physical as we do in physical. So even though sometimes it hurts, I think even that is a blessing.
Yes, I agree entirely. And when you are mourning, like you said, it's really important to allow yourself to be in that, but also to know that you can transmute that and alchemize that to fuel your growth, or to, further expand yourself, but also allow yourself to be in it for a while too.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I don't think there's a way of surpassing. I think that if we don't express, we impress. And Bob Proctor talked about this, I remember now. He said that depression is anger turned inside out.
Depression is anger turned inside out. Okay.
You hold it within, and when you store those emotions within, then eventually they have to express. So then they express in dis-ease, lack of ease in the body. Yeah. So even though, Sagittarius is such, for me, I think, a representation of embracing the dark and the light too, which we did talk a lot about in our last episode, but not judging it, letting go of judgment and allowing yourself. Yeah.
And even just surrendering to what life has to offer you, because Source is all knowing, and knows why you're here, and whatever you're going through, I think, has a purpose and a meaning, and is going to ultimately have an expansive impact on the universe.
Always. So I definitely had a oddly contrasting week. I've just been out of alignment, and I was feeling all kinds of emotions about even that itself, because I have this imaginary standard that I hold myself to, that I know how to get through the contrast, so I shouldn't be feeling that way. I shouldn't be stuck in it. I shouldn't be having the emotions that I'm having, because I know better. But it's like, nah, you're just human.
Yes.
And so then I think, okay, well, what are the feelings that are being caused by whatever result in physical, and I think about, okay, well, I hurt myself today. What does that mean though? How does that make you feel? Okay, well, you're feeling hurt, you're holding on to that hurt, and then it's expressing in the physical, because for me and so people will say, I don't believe in law of attraction, but law of attraction is actually very logical as well, because you're always acting out of those emotions, right? So this morning I was fighting these weeds, okay? We were in a war earlier, so we were walking through the woods, and I was like, yeah, it's either right now we're in heaven, and it reflects your internal emotions, right? So this morning I was in hell. I was in a war with these evil things that definitely sprouted straight from hell. And so I was fighting them, literally. I was trying to dig to their roots, which are very deep within hell, and like trying to get them out, right? And because I was acting out of this like not very calm or rational energy, just like frustration, I wasn't paying attention to my physical body, and I hurt my hand without even realizing it because I was in that emotional state, which I think is such a beautiful representation, ironically, of how your emotions really do affect your actions and therefore create your reality.
Yes.
It's super logical.
Yes. I similarly have been feeling slightly out of alignment as well. And I love that you said that, and maybe this was earlier, not even with you guys, but that you can create heaven or hell based off how you feel. And the second both of us are walking in the woods, we're like literally in heaven. It's the most beautiful place, and it felt familiar and safe and happy and joyful. And all we did was take time to allow that and like created that for ourselves because we felt so good being out here that we literally created heaven for ourselves temporarily.
Yes.
But I think that is such a really interesting concept, and I love how you put that.
Thank you. I think that, you know, for us, like you said, we're surrounded in literally the color of unconditional love. We're surrounded in infinite abundance and beauty in life. But it all depends on your conscious and unconscious thoughts. Like we consciously choose to go outside, you know, and I know for sure, like I know both of us, when I feel contrasting emotions, I will allow myself to feel them, but then I make the conscious choice to do something that I know is going to help me feel better. Because if you don't do that, if you allow your subconscious to control, you can get really stuck, and it's really easy once you're on a negative pathway to stay there. Just like it's much easier once you choose a positive pathway to stay there. You know, the flow continues in that direction. So I think, you know, that is the purpose of our conscious mind, to be able to choose what feels better in the here now, and like to choose to be present. It's so easy to allow your mind to just run wildly off into imaginary non-existence.
And when you choose those things that feel better, you're also retraining your subconscious mind, or helping to train your subconscious mind, because you're naturally going to start thinking better thoughts, and that's going to become more normalized to you.
Yes.
There's something else I was going to say off of that, but I'm just so distracted by nature's beauty.
I know, it's so beautiful. And, you know, when we first sat down and started filming, there were some bugs. And then I thought to myself, maybe we can manifest them away. And I swear 20 seconds later, the wind picked up and there's no bugs anymore.
And for those of you listening, it might be weird to have wind blowing in your ears, but it's actually a blessing. So
I was honestly going to say you're welcome for that free ASMR.
Yes.
I think it sounds really relaxing. I could nap to the sound. I love taking naps outside. It's such a beautiful place. I really don't take naps, but if I do, it's outside.
Yes, it's true. And it's like accidentally. It's just so calming. So if you are listening and you're not driving, you can just close your eyes. You can pretend you're out here even though you're not. You're hanging out with us.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so lovely.
It is. It's so beautiful. I feel like I've encountered.
So cool.
It does. I've been listening to it. Yeah, because we can hear on our headphones, obviously, right? I've been listening to the wind the whole time she talks. I'm like, oh, it's so nice.
Yes, I love it.
I've been encountering the concept of death a lot lately, and I think it's always such an interesting topic to talk about with people, because I think a lot of people have different perspectives on it. And I think death also represents a rebirth. Like, death can be, when we pull tarot cards, the representation of the death of a concept, the death of a belief, a bad habit, a relationship maybe. And with that death, there has to be the balance of rebirth. And I think that that's what we're meant to be focusing on when we're feeling, you know, don't get stuck in mourning when we're feeling that loss, when we're feeling that mourning, to shift into rebirth. What good can come of this situation? What do I want to do instead? What feels better for me? And earlier today, you know, after I went through the depths of hell. I was like, okay, what can I do, you know, that's going to help me feel better? And I put on my phone on shuffle, and it was playing some songs that were like not the vibe, and I was like, this is not helpful.
Yes.
And I was like, but I'd like to listen to something right now, though it is good to listen to silence, listen to your thoughts. And I decided to put on an episode of this podcast that I hadn't, you know, heard as a listener yet. And it brought me back to those same concepts. And then immediately I felt better. And I'm like, it's working.
Yes.
But it was just, you know, reminding me to become present and to choose. If you're feeling contrast, choose right now in this moment. What is your highest excitement? What could you do right this moment that would make you feel better? What sounds like the most exciting thing to do? It doesn't matter if it's something random or crazy. Go to the antique store, move around your furniture, paint.
Yes.
You know,
even for me, like cleaning obviously isn't always the highest excitement, but there's sometimes where the idea of not cleaning weighs you down more than just cleaning. So sometimes all the time my closet gets very messy because I try on a lot of things, or like I don't put my stuff away right away. And when I leave my house and I know my closet is a disastrous mess, like that weighs on me. So even though thinking about like cleaning your closet, it may not seem really exciting, but I know that it's going to make me feel super good after, and I'll feel like the weight off of me.
The gratification that you get from having the self-discipline to do something good for yourself is so rewarding, and to live in a clean space because you're worth it. Like it is
you are
so good.
Worth it.
And it's a representation of the energy as well. Like you're shifting the energy, and a lot of times when you're cleaning, you're getting rid of what no longer serves you.
Yes, exactly. And going back to that concept of like death and rebirth, that is the circle of life, and that is seen in nature. And I feel like when we've talked about it before, we live in a place where the seasons are very distinct, and we like each season we get the best of the best. But we kind of watch nature's cycle, and we actually look forward to fall when things are dying, when the things that are no longer serving nature are dying off. We look forward to that, and we can see the beauty in that. And then in the winter, you know, we find the beauty in that, the magical little sparkly snowflakes and the spirit of the holidays and the darkness, like where we have time to relax and go within. Like we see the beauty in all of the cycles, and death is a part of that. And so yes, death, our death, our personal, the death of this human, I think can be very scary at different times to people. But I think that it's actually, no matter what happens after, we don't necessarily know, but it is part of the cycle, and it's necessary, and we can see the beauty in it and other things. So it might actually be a very magical, amazing journey for us, or for...
I think it's as you said that, I feel like that strengthened the concept that I hold, that there must be rebirth. Because when you look at nature, the leaves fall off the trees, but then they're not dead forever. They come back always. There's always
the growth
rebirth.
Come spring.
Yes. And then I thought, as you were describing the seasons, I was thinking about life, and I was thinking, well, spring is my favorite because when all the flowers bloom, it's like the best, and it gets warm, and I'm so excited, and I'm alive again, you know, I'm living a new life. And then I thought, in the wintertime, you really get to slow down. And as children, and even as young adults, you know, life goes by really, really fast, and you're living a very fast-paced life. There's always so many things to do. You're going to school, and you're going to work, and, you know, you always have plans. And the older you get, the more your life slows down. But I think it also, there's a beauty to it, because you can appreciate life much more when it is slow. You know, when it becomes a meditation, you can really appreciate it, and you can even slow down time in a way.
Yeah, and you can connect because then you become more present and more appreciative. You're able to tap into gratitude. You're able to tap into more of those high vibrations when things are slower. I feel like in the summer, we're going, and we feel pressured to be outside as much as possible. And like, though we have very special moments that happen in the summer, because it's so busy and because it's so go, I do feel like it's difficult to appreciate it or to notice really what you're experiencing at that time.
Gosh.
If you're not like, if you don't realize you're doing that, or if you don't take that time to step back, even in the summer, to like take it all in.
I was thinking the exact same thing about when my son was a newborn. You know, it goes by so fast. It's like the most precious moments, and you can't really stop time because it just goes by so fast, doesn't it? But also there's a beauty, there's such a bittersweet to being a parent and being a human in general, because the more that you love, the more you love.
Yeah.
And the longer you get to know people, I mean, not always time, but with children, I think you get to watch them grow up and you get to watch them become.
I feel like so many people can relate to that too.
Bittersweet.
Yeah.
I think too that Americans particularly hold a grim view on death. And I think that, you know, Cinco de Mayo, the Day of the Dead, they celebrate death. And I think that's a much better perspective, because I do believe that there is a rebirth of some sort, you know, that there is alignment, that there is light.
Yeah. Absolutely. There always is. And thinking about nature, I always use nature as an example, but when the leaves die and they begin to fall off of the trees, and that does become the source of nutrients in the spring, like when we die as humans, we're able to let go of the heaviness of this life, or the things, the hardships, we're able to let that go, and we do have the opportunity to have a fresh start somehow, some way. And we can use our growth and our expansion to nourish our next life or our next journey.
Yes. With death, there is always that release of what is no longer serving. And therefore, I believe, like, what I see expansion to be is, you know, not only physically, like, becoming bigger, but becoming a higher vibrational, to become a higher vibrational being. Abraham Hicks has always talked about death as croaking, and speaking about it, saying that we come back into pure alignment, you know, that we come back into all that is. And that is really how I see it as well. You know, and all of, I really do believe that when you come back into all that is, I know, like, as a mother, like, I tell my child, like, no matter what, I will always be with you within our hearts, you know, and, you know, maybe not even in physical, but within my soul, you will always be a part of me. And I think that is true for everyone, for all that is. Like, you really do literally go back into all that is. If you've lost people, you know, you can feel them. You can still picture what it is like to have conversations with them, and what it is like to hug them, and, you know, what they smelled like and what their energy felt like the kind of advice that they would give you. You can still hear it in your head, you can imagine it. And I think that's, you can tap back into them, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Going back to death being a release, I think I've told you this, but when my grandma died, I was holding her hand. I was a kid, and I could see her soul leaving her body. And I felt the relief for her. Yeah. Because I do know that she was a deeply sad person. And I think that is what led to her dying so young. But I could feel the release. And that night, I did have a dream of her just being the happiest person, like ball dancing around a room. Like, I almost felt happy for her. Yeah. Because whatever was weighing her down in this life, like, she got to let that go. She got to release it. She didn't have to hold it anymore. And it's I think, like, as you said, Americans have like a morbid view of death, so that might sound really crazy to people, but like, I truly felt happy for her.
I think many people can relate to that. I mean, especially obviously a lot of people die when they're sick or, when they're elderly and they are kind of suffering in physical. And I think that there comes a point where they don't want to be anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because they don't value their physical life, but that it's no longer serving them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think also, though, many people do die when they're young and when they're healthy and, things just happen. But I still believe that they are going back into that place of pure alignment.
Mm-hmm.
That it's still a positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
That it's still a rebirth.
Pure love, light, energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that mourning, especially for like maybe, I mean, what's too long? I'm not judging emotions. Everyone, deals with them differently. But staying stuck in mourning is a selfish thing. And it's recognizing the lack of a connection when that's not the reality.
Mm-hmm.
We lack the physical essence of the person, but we do not lack the energy that connects us eternally.
Mm-hmm. And that's so true and so beautiful. And I think and hope that that's helpful for people, because death is a hard topic, I think, to talk about and to face.
Yeah. One of the hardest, I think.
But I don't think it's what it's perceived to be. Like, I think that it's so much more, and it might actually be the most amazing thing. We don't know.
I would like to think so.
Mm-hmm.
I also, I purely believe that the mind creates the reality. So I imagine that if you really believed that it was going to be this awful place, it wouldn't be the best thing to be doing. I would much rather believe that it's not.
Mm-hmm.
I would much rather believe that it's something higher.
Yeah.
And that's what pretty much every religious scripture says. I mean, either it's heaven or reincarnation. I don't think there is a religious scripture that says that there's an ending,
Mm-hmm.
that it's a forever end. I don't believe so. And I really like to think about the concept with relationships as well. Like, when a connection ends, it's not necessarily because somebody dies. Like, it can end because you no longer are aligned with them.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that be a friendship or a family member or a romantic connection or death. And I think it's so important to have that realization that, 1, every experience serves you.
Mm-hmm.
2, every connection is eternal. And 3, you can always tap back into the feeling that a person brought you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, your external reality will reflect that. So a lot of times when we lose like friends or a relationship, like eventually there is another one, and we are able to attract that by aligning with the vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So I know for me, like, I have considered like, oh, what would it be like to have like a really good best friend? Like, what would she be like? And then I manifested best friends. Like,
Yeah.
But you can always tap back into that energy. So the lack is an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
Lack is
It
an
is
illusion.
an illusion. It is. Yes. Oh my gosh, I had a thought, but give me a moment.
It's hard to focus on being present and expressing yourself at the same time, which is kind of cool, because today I was listening to our podcast, and I was thinking Halie's voice she speaks slower and more calmly than me. I think she probably thinks more about what she says than I do.
Yes.
I just let it spew. And I thought that's a really beautiful quality, instead of like, I think it comes from a place of anxiety at times where I feel like I need to get my point across as fast as possible, because I don't want to be wasting time.
That's really funny that you say it comes from a place of anxiety, because I think that is where it has stemmed from for me, for talking slow and thinking about what I have to say, because I was a people pleaser, and I grew up in an environment where I had to say things a certain way, not to get yelled at, or to not offend someone, or to, So I have learned to really think about what I say before I say them, so I don't get in trouble, or so I don't get yelled at and stuff. So that's kind of So it's more of like it was more of an anxiety thing for me as well.
Interesting. Yeah, your emotions really, affect the way you communicate.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And I also I'm a big listener, so I get so like I get so into what you're saying that I'm not thinking about like what I want to say.
Same, and then I'm like,
so then I have to stop and think about what I want to say.
Yeah, I've been having the same thing happen lately. I've been trying to practice listening more, and I think I am getting better at it. And I think listening is more important than speaking. You always learn more when you listen more. It also does slow my response, but I think it's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good thing to have what you're going to say be more valuable.
Yeah. But it also, I feel like you're better at just speaking what's on your mind, which I'm not as good at.
It's a blessing and a curse. There are many times where I'm like, why did I just say that?
And I'll go home and I'll be like, why didn't I say that? I feel like that's such a Scorpio thing too, though, for me.
What is your Mercury in?
My Mercury is, I don't remember what my Mercury is in right now.
Mine is in Aries, so it's a very fiery communication sign.
I want to say mine's a fire sign too. It might be Sagittarius.
Oh, that would make sense. I'm looking it up since we are just hanging out for this episode. Also, this is a great time to mention that if you guys have any concepts that you would like us to talk about, go ahead and comment it below whatever you're listening on. We would love to hear, and we're definitely open to any ideas. Obviously, we kind of talk about all that is all the time.
And we just like love talking about all this stuff, so I don't know, we always have something that we could talk about, but we're so happy to hear what you guys would like us to say or talk about or whatever. And yeah, you can comment or message us or anything.
Your Mercury is in Sagittarius.
I thought so. With it being, the full moon was in Sagittarius, and I have been feeling like I want to adventure so badly.
Me
or
too.
I feel stuck in the mundane a little bit, and I'm like, I need to change it up, I've been really feeling that Sagittarius energy. And my rising is also in Sagittarius.
So is mine.
She's really trying to take over right now. I'm like
You know how people have angel and devils on their shoulder? My devil is my Sag moon and rising. She's not trying to chill.
Mine is my Aries moon and then my Sag rising.
Yes. Oh.
They are
Oh, no, I feel like my angel, my sun, is more so the Taurus. Like, Taurus is a very, good girl and, reliable and,
stable.
Organized and stable and grounded. And Sag is, burn the world.
Yes.
It'll be fun.
For me, Aries is, hardworking. You got to get it done. And then, masculine energy. Sagittarius is also a masculine sign, but it's very much no, quit your job and travel and run off.
Yes.
Run and frolic in the woods and forget about.
I have listened many times to her.
She's about to take control of the steering wheel, I swear.
It always works out, though. I think Sag listens to intuition because I have quit many jobs to travel. Sorry to everybody. But I don't regret it. It was worth it. A lot of expansion.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Traveling is something that we both really love.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think it's about time. Although the adventure starts within the mind.
Mm-hmm. It is. It does. Yeah.
Enjoying the journey.
Yes.
We're always traveling through life.
We were walking through the woods. We're like, we could be in Scotland right now. We're pretending we're in Scotland in our past life.
We're in Scotland. We are in Scotland right now. What do you mean?
This rock is a portal. We're taking you guys with us.
It's nice and warm. But we will take you guys with us to Scotland, and I can't wait. And part of me wants to share some ideas we had about Scotland, what we'd like to do there. Shall we?
Okay. I'll let you start.
Okay. Well, we've been talking about doing retreats this summer. right? And there are lots of retreats that travel all over the world. And, you know, someday we would love to be able to host a retreat.
We're putting this on the record because when this happens, I'll be like, oh my God, we did it.
Yes. And part of me was reluctant to share, you know, because I do think some ideas you want to keep to yourself, but I do want to share this idea with you guys because we want you to come.
Yeah.
And, you know, we want to get you excited about it because we're excited about it. And we actually have, you know, quite a lot of not only like knowledge, but I say exercises and I do mean like physically yoga, but, you know, exercises for your mental well-being, you know, and lots of things we could do that would really, I believe, bring so much value to you and to us as a whole. I'm really excited about it. And there are lots of really cool castles that we could do them in. So make sure you're keeping an eye out for that.
Yes, a castle is a must. So we will be staying in a castle. It will be magical, mystical. Scotland is a very magical place, so a really great place to tap into your inner magic, and it's going to be so special. And I'm a yoga instructor, and I can't wait to guide us through some really amazing flows. And it'll probably be on, I think I would love to plan it on like a new or full moon. But also you have a lot to offer people, and I don't know if you've talked about it much on this podcast, but I feel like this would be a good time for you to like tell people what you do.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I realize that I don't talk much about it, and I think that that might be something that I should more openly share, and that maybe it's something that I've been a bit shameful about. I'm like, I don't want to be advertising myself, you know. There's like some taboo around that concept, but actually I think in advertising myself I can help people, and that's really what I want to be doing. So when I initially went to college, I got a bachelor's in pre-medical science. I always knew that I did want to help people. So it was biology, psychology, and chemistry. And I loved what I learned, and I actually do use the information a lot. It's really good to know about anatomy and physiology, and psychology is the most fascinating subject there is. But I got to this point where I was like, I don't want to be a doctor or a pharmacist, and I don't want to be working 24/7. I don't want to be in a 9-to-5, and I just, you know, it's not worth it to me, and it doesn't feel aligned anymore. So I eventually fell into makeup, and I just started loving the art of makeup, and people started asking me to do their makeup. And so I started doing that, and it has been really, really rewarding, and I still do it at least part-time, more full-time in the summertime. But that's one of the things that I do. So if you are interested, you know, we always leave our social media links below.
And I feel like we will be doing a makeup episode at one point too.
Yeah, definitely, because we both love makeup so much. Yeah. So it's been wonderful to work with people on their happiest days. But that said, I found myself talking really personally to a lot of my clients. A lot of people open up to me. I make them feel comfortable in ways. And I felt that though makeup is wonderful and it's an art and it's lots of fun, it didn't feel like my life's purpose. It didn't feel like it had the meaning that I desired. So eventually I decided to become a life coach. So I did a life coaching certification, and I think Abraham Hicks probably inspired me into that more than anyone else. I just absolutely resonated with everything that she said, and listening to her for years really changed my life and my mindset and my well-being. So I started coaching, and I loved the transformation that I would see in people, you know, and it's like a journey you go on with clients. Even in the first meeting or first couple of meetings, you see people come in and they are unaware of what is holding them back from creating the life and the things that they want in their life. And so I get to know people, and I get to help them through usually childhood trauma that is blocking them from aligning and attracting what they want in their life. And that is just such an amazing transformative experience, and so rewarding. So I did that for a couple years, and I still do. And then I decided that I wanted to be a consultant. And at the time that I made that decision, I was very money motivated. I was like, I just want to focus on this one thing. And, at the time I also still had some like unresolved subconscious beliefs I was holding on to around relationships. So I thought, if I build up my own life and my own success and, I really create the life that I want, then I'm going to be able to help others and to be happy. So I really saw consulting as the pathway to that. And what I learned at the end of the day, I learned a lot from it. It was a really, really wonderful thing to do, actually. It's been a blessing in many ways. But at the end of the day, what I learned is that you don't need anybody else to tell you're good enough. You don't need anybody else to certify you to be good enough. You're already good enough. And, the knowledge and the education is one thing. Like, definitely, depending on what you want to do, you're going to need that, right? But it's the confidence, really, and the desire and the drive and the passion that's going to actually bring you into that. So I ended up deciding to just work on my own and combine both of those things, because I love, like, consulting has a very logical aspect to it and like a very straightforward and business savvy kind of aspect to it, whereas life coaching is such like an emotional process. It's such an emotional thing. So throughout that, I've learned so much, and I have combined both of those things in order to help my clients really achieve anything and everything that they want, which is so exciting and so fun. And so, yeah, if we do these retreats, I will most definitely be doing multiple different exercises, and I would like to do even one-on-ones with people. I would also do group lessons on certain different things, but mostly about like releasing what no longer serves us, releasing childhood trauma, and then rebuilding a new paradigm, and a new belief system, and learning how to incorporate those exercises into your everyday life. Because I think people have this concept of healing that they're like, okay, I'm gonna do it and then it's gonna be done. No, it's like laundry and grocery shopping.
You gotta keep up on it.
It's waves. It's never gonna be forever done. That's the point of life. We're expanding exponentially, eternally. So I think it's really important. And as I said earlier, like, I'm a human. I still have contrast and negative emotions, and I'm not perfect, but my life overall is so much happier and easier and more abundant than it ever has been. And it keeps getting better.
Yes. I love that, because we would be conjoining like spiritual growth and healing along with like magical things, like inner magic. I'm very much like the witchy. We're both witchy, but I feel like we would be incorporating a lot of like fun little magic rituals and stuff too. So
definitely be like reading tarots and probably making spell jars.
Doing something outside.
Burning what no longer serves us. Lots of things like that. I think we both love incorporating that, and it makes life magical. Bring the magic back into life. I love.
That's
love
my whole
doing
thing.
like
It's like exploring your inner magic, because truly it's within. You find it within. And there's just so many tools externally that we can use to help us find that and to feel that, but it is always from within. I do like how you mentioned that you felt like you needed like external approval to be good enough. That's kind of where my journey went as well. And I feel like for a lot of people can relate to that. They go to school because they feel like they have to be good enough for a parent or for someone else,
or for money or for love, you know.
And that's actually why I went to school. And I don't know, I guess, what I would have done if I didn't force myself to go to school. But I initially went to nursing school, and I was really great at it, and I worked as a CNA, but I've never been more miserable in my life. And it drained me. And like the best thing I ever did was quit nursing school, and then I still went back to school to get a degree because I felt like that's what you had to do, and that's what society views as good, and that's what, I've been pushed to do. And I don't know, it's just like I've said, I've always been a people pleaser. It's like an external thing, like pleasing others. And I did get my degree. I got a degree in fashion merchandising and management, and I love that because I had never heard of that before. But it's like I got to go to school and study like fashion things. Like,
that's so much fun.
Cool. Yeah, and I am working in fashion now, but I know that's not like my end all purpose, Yeah, I just feel like I have so much more value here, and what I end up doing is going to be not anything I learned in school.
Yeah. But I have to say, I think that you and I align on so many different levels. It's so funny. So that's why I went to college too. And I think that's why most people do, because really at 18, you don't know what you want to do with the rest of your life. You're still a kid. Your brain's not even developed yet. There's so much pressure on 18-year-olds. Go to college, get a job, live the white picket fence life.
Literally,
follow your heart.
I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't have any idea. I just did it because that's what I was like, oh, I'll make money doing that, and like my family thinks is a good idea. So
you don't even know who you are at that age, And then, fashion, I think for me, makeup is kind of similar, like we're both like, well, this is a fun, happy, much easier job than the medical field. And now at the end of the day, I think that we are healing people in a much more profound and a really different way than we initially thought.
And we've never been happier. Never, ever been happier. Like, it's so good. Like, to be straightforward, like, we're not getting paid to do this yet.
Yes, yet.
But we are so happy to be doing this anyways. And that's what matters. Like, this feels more meaningful to me than some of the things I've gotten paid to do.
Me too. And I think, not only does listening to this podcast for me bring me into alignment, but doing this podcast feels good. It feels right. It feels meaningful. I know that it's helping other people feel better because you guys are giving us feedback, which I appreciate so deeply, and while we're talking about this, if you would like, share, comment, review, it helps us so much. And truly, you're helping the world.
Yeah.
You're helping raise the vibration.
Yeah. And it's, if you think about it, it's an energy exchange,
Yes.
Truthfully, we have a lot of value to share with you guys. And even being in our energy, I feel like is really special. Like, you guys have access to our energy, and it's very valuable. So to have an energy exchange with us would mean a lot to us by showing that you like this and that you're grateful for us, or that you are enjoying this content just by sharing or liking. It really means a lot, and energetically it means a lot. It means it's almost like you're telling the universe that you want more of this.
Yes, and you become a part of a really beautiful community, which I've learned, as I've gotten older, that when you say that you want like social media likes, if you like other people's posts, if you're more interactive with other people, then you get those back. And it's the same within relationships. Maybe sometimes you call your friend to do something and then they call you, but if you never reach out, if you never share that energy, then you're cutting yourself off. And it's a beautiful thing to become a part of a community like that. And I feel really so grateful for it. There are so many people who are we have crappy subconscious beliefs, and it's easy to stay in negativity, and it's so valuable to be around people of a high vibration and of a different perspective and a positive mindset. There's nothing more valuable, actually.
And we were actually kind of talking about this on our way here, like having experienced the opposite and how that makes you feel, and how that manifests other things in your life. But yeah, I think this podcast, and like I sell crystals, and I've been building a coven. Like, this is like a magical community of healing and growth and light and support. And like, I'm so excited to continue growing this with you.
Me too.
And with you. And I cannot wait for you guys to join us in Scotland. It's going to be so amazing.
Yes, I'm so excited. So we were talking about other people's vibrations, they affect us, and energy is contagious. And on this podcast earlier, I said, I think listening is more important than communicating, than talking. And because you learn from it. So I have found myself many a times in the company of somebody who I felt was just on a negative vibration.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, I'm very aware that I attract my own reality. So I'll question, okay, like, why did I attract this? And then I question, how can I find alignment unconditionally in this moment?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good skill to have. So when that happens, one thing I learned from Bob Proctor too was compliment them. Get them talking about something that they're good at. Get them talking about something positive. Or you can be like, isn't it a beautiful day? Like, look outside, like, look around, or isn't that beautiful? Or, changing the subject to something positive can really, really help what you're attracting in the here now. As well as I do envision my energy being protected. Like, I do envision white light around me, and I do take deep breaths and remember to stay really mindful and present about, each step I'm taking, each breath I'm taking, and, what I'm focused on, and how much of another person's energy that I am allowing into my subconscious.
I want to play off of that a bit, because I did share that I was in nursing school and I worked as a CNA, and this isn't only occurring with people that you're friends with or that you choose to hang out with. This can happen at work.
Yep.
And this is why it was so important for me to actually quit my job and quit nursing school. But those were some tools that I learned along the way. So when I was working as a CNA, you are surrounded by very sick people. And we do need people that are able to help them and wanting to help these people. And I cared so deeply for these people and I wanted to help them, but I took on that sickness. I felt it for them because I felt so sad for them. And day after day, I was surrounding myself in this vibration, and I did work in an Alzheimer's unit. And so it's very sad, and it kind of begun to take over. So one of the things that I learned along the way was envisioning white light around you. In order to protect my energy before I went to work, I would sit down before I started my day, and I would envision this white loving and this white pure love light energy around my body. And I would find stillness as well. I think stillness was so important. So I would just envision this light around me. And that really did help me a lot, especially if you're someone who's more of an empath and you're taking on these emotions. I also found, and this is when I started my yoga journey, and what actually helped me through that as well, because I was able to find stillness, but also the movement brought me back to the present moment, and it helped me process some of these emotions that I was internalizing that were not even mine. So it's just important to find practices that help you protect your energy around people, because no matter what, you're going to be out in the world, and you're going to come across people who may have a negative vibration, but you don't have to take that on, and you don't have to attach that, and you don't have to feel that, and that's okay.
I think yoga teaches presence so well too, and I really believe that presence is the key to detachment as well. Especially like it may be more difficult to stay in alignment while you're in a situation, but a lot of people struggle with that when they're not even in the situation anymore. So we're always talking about it, but coming back to that present moment. But those are vital skills. When
you're unhappy, especially like in a job or something, I found that I was anxious about having to go back there. So I would spend my time away from that situation, worried about the situation. So yes, detaching, finding presence, and like having the discipline to find something that feels better and that will help you disconnect from that. is just so important.
Yeah. Beautiful, wonderful, happy.
Yes.
Well, I think we should probably pull a card for the day. See what they've got to tell us.
Okay, just to remind you, we are in the beautiful wilderness in northern Minnesota. We're surrounded by trees and abundance and greenery, and we'll see what Mother Nature has to share with us. Maybe she'll speak through the cards for us, so bear with me here.
I feel like she has already given us so many beautiful messages today too. We always are saying that everything is interrelated and everything connects, but every episode just
Also thinking about, you were talking about being a listener as opposed to speaking on the podcast. I feel as though we are kind of more of a channel for source when we're speaking on the podcast.
Yes.
So that I don't even know if we know what we're saying half the time.
No, honestly, and it's interesting because especially lately, like once in a while, I'll listen to a little something if we have a subject in mind, or I'll think about it a bit, but all of the time we just allow it to flow, and whatever comes up, and it's not usually my own thoughts, but thoughts from source. Oh
my God.
10 of Pentacles. It is a family embracing each other, which really goes along with some of the things we were talking about earlier as well. The cycle of life.
Oh, it's beautiful. There's plants. They're surrounded by abundance. Plants and abundance, and the pentacles,
yeah, wow.
I do think represent money.
Yeah. Yep. So there's 10 pentacles that look like gold coins on this one.
I have been pulling pentacles so much lately.
It looks like, I feel like 10 of Pentacles, 10 too is like a goal has been reached. Like 10 is the champion.
Okay, I swear every time we pull a card, it aligns with what we are speaking about. So this is so important. So the theme for the 10 of Pentacles is abundance, family, long-term success, financial stability, foundation, good fortune, and property. I'll get the wind.
Could have told you that before we pulled the card.
So the 10 of Pentacles depicts a happy couple with a child in their beautiful house. This could be a sign that family is very important to you, or that you're ready to start a family. When 10 of Pentacles appears in a reading, it signifies the importance of creating a solid and long-lasting foundation for your future, making a long-term plan, and creating something lasting. This could mean different things for different people. Purchasing a property, marrying, starting a family, investing, continuing a family tradition, focusing on artistic creations, writing a book, etc. No matter where you are in your journey, 10 of Pentacles promises success and stability as a result of hard work. Everything will come together. You will be proud of everything you have achieved. Now, I'm going to read the reversed as well, just to see if anybody aligns with this. But it says, since 10 of Pentacles is deeply connected with family, the reversed card may indicate tension with family members. It can also suggest that you are focusing all your energy and thoughts on short-term success and disregarding your long-term potential, especially when it comes to your finances. Take a step back and evaluate where you direct most of your energy. There is a chance that your decisions right now will lead to more damage in the future. Abundance. We are surrounded by abundance.
We are.
I love that.
And we did pull the card upright, but I think it's interesting to read the reverse meanings as well, because, there's always yin and yang. There's always there's always infinite perspectives really to look at something as well.
Yeah, and it might even help you gain a better perspective of the positive.
Yeah, and what to focus on, and what you do want to align with.
It's so lovely.
It is
so pretty.
That is the happiest card. Family, love, and abundance. I love that.
I've never pulled that one.
Cheers to that.
Oh my gosh. We love you guys. Thank you for joining us out in nature. And if you would like to see another one of these, let us know. We'll probably do it anyways, but we are just so grateful for you, and thank you for tuning into another episode. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, engage with us in any way. We just love growing this community, as we've said over and over. So thanks again, and we will see you next Friday.
Love you. Bye.